you are being seen as worthless because of your failures in your career, falling into a mental crisis, especially when your children are waiting for you to bring home money to take care of them. There are women being manipulated by their husbands, causing 2 out of their 3 children to turn against their mother and force her out of the house. There are men being treated in hospitals for alcohol addiction after stressful days of work. Some girls can't find a boyfriend because they've gained uncontrollable weight and are overeating. You've lost family connections because you've spent too much time on your phone instead of talking and playing with them. Let's work together to build positive habits to overcome these crises and escape from this hell. Let's build a community of kindness by subscribing to Stoicism for Success right now and sharing it with those you wish to see live with kindness and strength like us. Let's spread these positive values together. Habit 1. Planning. If you feel like you're working aimlessly, just showing up, getting paid at the end of the month, and have no idea what your future holds, then that's a sign you're about to fail in your career. You need to start planning for yourself immediately. Why is planning necessary? Planning helps you clearly identify what you need to do each day to move closer to your goals. If you don't know what you need to do today, you'll easily get sucked into trivial tasks, lose direction, and feel like you haven't achieved anything meaningful. If you aren't clear with yourself, you won't be able to succeed. Benefits of planning. Increased focus and efficiency. With a specific plan, you know exactly what needs to be done at each moment, helping reduce time waste and focus on the most important tasks. Better time management. Planning allows you to allocate time reasonably between work, family, and personal life. Avoiding burnout or ineffective work, reduce stress and anxiety. When you know exactly what steps to take, it relieves pressure and anxiety about the future. A plan gives you a sense of control and direction over the path you're taking. Measuring and adjusting goals. A plan is the basis for tracking your progress. You can reflect on what you've accomplished, what needs adjustment, and how to keep moving forward. How to build the habit of planning. Start with big goals. Identify the long-term goals you want to achieve, whether in your career, finances, health, or personal relationships. Break down your goals into daily tasks. Once you've set long-term goals, break them into specific tasks you can do daily or weekly. This gives you clear direction for each day. Use schedules or to-do lists. Write down your plan in a calendar, notebook, or task management app. This makes it easy to track and complete the tasks you've set. Review and adjust. At the end of each day or week, review your plan. What was completed? What needs improvement? And do you need to make any adjustments? Start small and be consistent. You don't need to start with overly complex plans. Begin with small daily tasks and gradually expand as you get more comfortable. Planning is an important habit to not only take control of your life, but also achieve success. Remember, only when you know exactly what to do can you move toward bigger goals and live a more meaningful life. Let's come together to support our community. If you are a kind person, please hit the like button on this video and leave some energetic comments to spread positive vibes. Together, we can make a difference. Habit 2. Work journaling. Monitoring your daily work quality is a crucial part of maintaining progress and ensuring you're on track with your goals. One of the most effective ways to do this is by journaling, recording what you did during the day, how you felt about the work, and what could be improved. Writing a work journal helps you reflect and clearly analyze what has been accomplished, what is lacking, or needs change. As you record, you can identify effective work habits and also see which habits waste time or don't help you make progress. The journal is a place to be honest with yourself, with no judgment or fear, just writing down what happened. Daily journaling also helps you track personal growth and adjust your work plans more flexibly. For example, you may realize that you tend to work better in the morning, so you schedule important tasks during this time. Or you might notice that some tasks are always delayed and need a different strategy to complete them more effectively. Moreover, journaling helps reduce stress and mental strain. When you write down emotions or difficulties at work, it provides relief and helps you handle situations better the next day. It's also a way to learn from mistakes, find solutions, and improve work quality day by day. To get started, set aside a little time at the end of the day to write a work journal. Record completed tasks, the time spent on each, how you felt during the work, and any incidents that occurred. This not only helps you monitor work efficiency, but also serves as a tool for self-reflection to continually improve daily work quality. Habit 3. Waking up early. The third habit that changed the way I work is waking up early to have time for reflection and planning for the day. Previously, I would start the day in a rush, never having enough time to thoughtfully consider what needed to be done. However, after deciding to try waking up early, I noticed a big shift. I set my alarm for 5 a.m. At first, getting out of bed was a challenge. But after just a few days, I began to experience the value of waking up early and spending quiet time thinking. This time allows me to focus on planning the entire day. I begin by reviewing the most important tasks that need to be completed. Thanks to the quietness of the early morning, I can clearly identify priorities and create a strategy for each task. This helps me work more efficiently and avoid feeling rushed. Instead of diving into work chaotically, I now have a detailed plan for each hour of the day, ensuring that I meet my goals. This moment is also the time for me to reflect on work issues that are still unresolved, find solutions, or think of new approaches to challenges. Waking up early gives me a clearer perspective on my work, helping me make better decisions and reduce mistakes. Not only do I plan for the day, but I also prepare a positive mindset for work. This morning time creates a sense of calm, allowing me to put everything in order, reducing stress and increasing productivity throughout the day. I've realized that waking up early doesn't just provide more time, but also offers an opportunity to organize work intelligently and efficiently. It's a time for strategic thinking, detailed planning, and better control over the day. If you want to improve your work productivity, I encourage you to try waking up a little earlier each day and use this time to prepare for the day ahead. You will notice a significant change in how you work and in your ability to achieve your goals. Habit 4. Exercising daily. The fourth habit that changed my life is exercising daily. To be honest, I wasn't always someone who loved physical activity. Before, I used to make excuses like, I'm too tired, I don't have time, or I'll start tomorrow. Does this sound familiar? But then I decided it was time to change. I committed to exercising every day for a week, and the results were truly amazing. I started with light exercises, just 20 minutes a day, such as yoga, jogging, and light weightlifting, so that I wouldn't get bored and quit halfway through. The first few days were tough. My body was sore and I felt exhausted. But I kept reminding myself why I was doing this. For better health, both physically and mentally. By the fourth day, the transformation began. I started feeling more energized, my mood lifted, I became less irritable, and I was more positive. Exercising didn't just help me burn calories or build muscle. It became an opportunity for me to release stress and boost my endorphin levels. One morning, as I jogged under the clear blue sky, I felt a sense of freedom and clarity that I hadn't felt in a long time. Physical changes also started to appear. My posture improved, I felt stronger, and I noticed a clear difference in my fitness. However, the biggest change was mental. Daily exercise became a form of self-care rather than a burdensome obligation. I also tried yoga and quickly grew to love it, even though I initially hesitated, thinking I wasn't flexible enough. Yoga taught me mindfulness and how to listen to my body. The habit of daily exercise helped me realize the importance of taking care of my body for my mental health and overall happiness. It doesn't need to be perfect or extreme. Just find a form of movement you enjoy and make it a habit. If you're like I was, struggling to start, begin small. Spend a few minutes each day on an activity you like and gradually increase the time. Trust me, the benefits you'll experience are well worth the effort. This habit will not only change your body, but also change the way you view life. Habit 5. Mindful eating. The next habit, mindful eating, has had a major impact on my life. Like many people, I used to eat hurriedly without paying attention to what or how much I was eating. I would often eat while scrolling through my phone or working, which greatly affected my overall health without me realizing it. Until I decided to try mindful eating for a week. Mindful eating is all about fully focusing on the eating experience, from the taste and texture of the food to how it feels when it touches your senses. I committed to practicing mindful eating by creating a peaceful meal environment, free from distractions like phones, TVs, or laptops. At first, eating in silence felt strange, but gradually I began to feel peaceful and focused on every bite. I started each meal with a few deep breaths to center my mind and bring my attention back to the present moment. The first thing I noticed was that I truly enjoyed the flavors of the food more. Familiar dishes suddenly became richer in taste and texture. For example, the crunchiness of vegetables or the sweetness of fruit became more noticeable, almost like a whole new level of the eating experience. Another important change was that I started to recognize more clearly when I was full. Previously, I would eat too fast, leading to overeating. Now, I listen to my body and naturally stop when I'm full, which helps me eat less and still feel satisfied. One memorable experience was eating a simple bowl of oatmeal. In the past, I would have eaten it quickly without a second thought, but this time, I focused on the smooth texture and the light sweetness of the honey. This mindful approach to breakfast set a peaceful and positive tone for the rest of my day. I also noticed that fresh, healthy foods made me feel more energized, while heavy, processed foods left me sluggish. As a result, I naturally began choosing healthier meals without feeling forced. A key aspect of mindful eating is recognizing the connection between emotions and food. I realized that sometimes I wasn't eating because I was hungry, but because I was bored, stressed, or seeking comfort. With this awareness, I've been able to manage my emotions differently instead of turning to food. For example, one evening I craved something sweet after dinner. Instead of reaching for dessert, I asked myself if I was truly hungry or just trying to relieve stress. In the end, I opted for a cup of herbal tea instead of dessert, and it felt like a small but important victory. Practicing mindful eating has changed my relationship with food, improved my digestive health, and made me feel happier overall. This is a habit I've maintained long after that first week, and I encourage you to try it. Start with one meal a day. Sit down, remove all distractions, and focus on each bite. You'll be surprised at the positive difference mindful eating can make to your daily life experience. Habit 6. Limiting screen time. The sixth habit I adopted is limiting my spend on electronic devices. This was a big challenge for me, and I think many of you might struggle with this too. We live in a digital age. We're spending hours scrolling through social media, watching movies, or checking emails has become a habit. I realized that the time I spent on screens was negatively affecting my mental health, work productivity, and even my sleep. So, I decided to make a change, set specific limits, and see what would happen. At first, I limited my non-work-related screen time to just 1 hour a day. This meant no more mindlessly scrolling through Instagram, watching YouTube all evening, or checking the TV late into the night. It wasn't easy at first because I was so used to using electronic devices in my free time, but I knew I needed to make an adjustment. The first thing I noticed was that I had much more time in my day, time that I hadn't realized was being swallowed by electronic devices. With those extra hours, I started to rediscover personal interests and activities I had neglected. I began reading books, sketching, and even trying out new recipes. One evening, instead of sitting in front of the TV, I took a walk in the park and felt mentally refreshed, completely different from the sluggishness I would feel after hours of screen time. Another big change I noticed was the improvement in my sleep quality. Before, I used to bring my phone to bed, scrolling through social media until I felt tired. But this habit kept me restless throughout the night. By limiting screen time, especially before bed, I found it easier to relax and have deeper sleep. Instead, I read physical books or meditated before bed, and it helped me wake up the next morning feeling energized. My mood and mental health also improved significantly. Without constantly being drawn into endless updates and comparisons on social media, I felt less anxious and more focused on what truly mattered. I also realized that I was more present in conversations and personal relationships, feeling like the fog had been lifted. One memorable day was when I spent the entire afternoon at a cafe with just a notebook and pen. Without any phone or computer to distract me, I wrote down my thoughts, made plans, and even sketched out creative ideas. That peaceful moment helped me feel more deeply connected to myself and the world around me. Of course, there were times when I was tempted by my phone and slipped up, but I reminded myself of the benefits I had experienced and kept returning to this habit. Limiting screen time isn't about completely removing technology, but about creating a healthier balance. If you also feel overwhelmed or disconnected from the real world, try setting screen time limits for yourself. Start small, reduce by 1 hour each day, and gradually increase. You'll be amazed at how life opens up when you spend more time interacting with the real world and with yourself. Thank you for watching this video. Let's support our wonderful community by hitting subscribe and turning on notifications right now. Show everyone that you're living kindly by liking the video and sharing your experiences in the comments. Take action now to spread positive energy.